talking money, and I don't want to talk.
Still gon' stunt. Diamonds look like they glowing. 50 stacks all singles, I make it look like it's snowing. Treat them like Jack boys, catch them slipping and slam. Treat them like Jack boys, catch them slipping and slam. Then I'm still gon' stunt. Diamonds look like they glowing. 50 stacks all singles, I make it look like it's snowing. Treat them like Jack boys, catch them slipping and slam. Treat them like Jack boys, catch them slipping and slam.
We back again. We back with another video. This is We-On-Loc Nation. Of course, we're dealing with the politics side yet again. I just got a text message from a friend of mine stating that already America has suffered casualties. 150 soldiers perished at the hands of landmines. I told people this is going to be a situation where this is going to carry out for a long period of time, possibly even years. We need to desperately do something and try something to get this man, this delusional man, and if anybody who wants to donate to the channel, the link is up in this box over here where it says donate. Needless to say, we need to get this delusional man out of office. He's going to get Americans killed. He's gonna get America destroyed. He's already destroying America. Gas prices are going up 120 million a barrel, and that means in California and in other places, your gas is going skyrocket, possibly $6 to $7 a pop. I'm not worried the state of Nevada, because the state of Nevada, I can live off $4. I can live off $4. Hell, if it goes up to $5, I might have to get that bike ready and do some shopping. Hell, I need to lose this anyway. But people who really have to go to work, this is going to be depressing for them. And not to mention food supplies. Your food supplies are going to run out because the tariffs. They gotta get here somehow, some way. You're gonna have to pay the extra money, and when they pay the extra money, then the grocery stores are gonna have to up their pricing a little bit. This is where we need Jasmine Crockett needs to take the next step, I believe, and we all know what that is. Will she take it? Who knows? This is a desperate times for desperate measures, because needless to say, ain't nobody going to be voting for nobody. And I hear people saying that it's ridiculous. You should just go ahead and vote for Tellerico if you don't want Kim Paxton in there. If you don't want Kim Paxton, you're going to vote for Tellerico. I say why? I say it's only going to be a mess. And we already know what's going to happen when it gets to the general election. Paxton might win anyway, because of the simple fact that if this can happen to Jasmine, it can happen to Tellerico. Guaranteed. But then again, I might be wrong on that. I might be wrong on it. Hopefully, I am not wrong. But it's a mess. It's a whole freaking mess. Yeah, and I did say I was going to take 2 weeks off, but I can't help myself. Maybe after this stream, I might just take 2 weeks off. Who knows? But Here's an example of one person not doing their due diligence to see Tellerico wasn't in it.
I need y'all to sit down. They think black voters are irrelevant. They think black voters are a non factor. Show them how much black voters are actually needed in a general election in Texas. The amount of happiness I saw from white leftists with the clear voter suppression going on in Dallas County, like you were actually happy that black people were being turned away at the polls. I think this election showed a clear sign of who is an ally and who is a foe. And to say that Jasmine Crockett losing is the end of identity politics in the Democratic Party is just absurd. If you voted for James Tallarico because he is a white male and you thought that that meant he was more electable, that is the very definition of identity politics. Y'all are not serious people. Jasmine Crockett got the Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris treatment, and all I have to say is if black women cannot be leaders in the Democratic Party, if black women are unelectable, then black voters are unpersuadable. Tallarico literally ignored the black community his entire primary and did nothing to stop the racist rhetoric that was coming from his very own supporters. So, go in the general with Asian, white, and Hispanic voters, since black people are non-factors. Black voters in Texas.
I say, ouch. But is she right? Is she right? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Hello. Hello, Hammer. Hello, Tanya. Hello, hello, hello. Professional victim. That's a long name. Professional victims hate me. LOL. The next step to another loss. Well, what do we do from here? I'm asking, what do we do from here? Since 92% of black voters, and most of them are female, are not going to take that next step to support Tellerico, what's next? Hopefully, is to save that vote for when 3 years pass, and 3 years is going to look very, very ugly unless the Supreme Court grows a pair and says enough is enough and takes away Donald Trump's ego, his power, his latte, his bloodlust for power. Then we're just going to end up like this for the rest of our. It's going to end up like this for the rest of the next 3 years, and he's going to be constantly saying he's delusional. That we're winning the war and all this other stuff, and things are looking on the up and up, and the economy's looking on the up and up, and it's all because of me. Blah blah blah. Obama didn't do it for you. Uh, Joe Biden didn't do it for you. I did it. And I did it with my influence. Ha 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 ha. Just the delusion of grandeur from this guy. Some of these black voters bow to Massa. Well, hey, look, when you ain't got nowhere to go and you feel defeated, which Jasmine Crockett is defeated but not beaten, because I feel that she has it. Now that she has suffered a loss, and now that she has learned plenty of lessons from the people who she should have gotten advice from, I believe it is time to go to the next step in politics. Fight. Take it to the next level in presidency. They wouldn't give you the Senate seat. Try to take it to the next level in presidency. Why not? Why not? Harris, it didn't work for Harris. That's because Harris was duped. And Harris won. But we don't know how that turned out. But hey, It's not a downer. It's look on the bright side. You know, look on the bright side of things. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Allegedly, everything is pretty much on the up and up. So let's see some. Let's all cheer up and see some. Hopefully, I think this is a recent video. I'm not sure. I think I haven't seen this one yet. I haven't seen this one. And this is how Jasmine Crockett flexes her power. Check it out.
Representative
This moment.
You don't think that happened?
I do not.
So the letter that Mark Zuckerberg wrote this committee, he was lying to us? That's a question.
And we say that we take that oath seriously, but when it comes into actually doing something that looks like preserving that oath or looks like preserving the Constitution, we get a little wobbly, and I'm not really understanding what's going on. Press doesn't look like kicking out the Washington Post, or actually the Huffington Post has been kicked out. We know that the Associated Press has been kicked out, and now the Washington Post is not going to allow for op-eds in any way if for some reason they criticize the sitting president of the United States. What this is starting to feel like is a smaller version of Russia. And I am trying to tell you that we are nothing like Russia. We are not supposed to be like Russia, but that is what we've got going on. And I'm sorry, I know that some of my colleagues still struggle with answering the question of who won the election in 2020. And you may have felt a way when you had social media checking people and saying, no, Trump did not win the election in 2020. That is absolutely factual. And unfortunately, because some people got all riled up because they believed the lies, they ended up getting locked up because they decided that they were going to believe the lies. They ended up at the Capitol on January 6th, and they were trying to tear this thing apart because they felt like their country was falling apart in front of their eyes because for whatever reason, there were people in power that were peddling a lie about the election. We also know, and some of y'all may still say that COVID was a hoax. COVID wasn't a hoax. Tell that to the over 1 million people that died under Donald Trump's first watch. It wasn't a hoax. So no, I do believe that it was okay. In fact, I do believe that it was ethically right for social media to check people because you had people that didn't know anything about science and decided that they were going to put out whatever lies or propaganda or conspiracy theories they wanted to, and people died. At some point in time, we have to evaluate what is factual, and I know that facts hurt y'all, and I just wish we could get on the same page, but we do know during the presidential election that the president would not go and participate in anything if fact-checking was going to be a part of it, because he didn't want to be fact-checked. We know that the vice president got upset in his vice presidential debate when he was fact-checked. It used to be a time in this country that we as members of Congress or elected officials thought that it was okay to just tell the truth. Instead, we're pushing conspiracy theories, and some of them are killing people. It's the same thing that we have coming out of Doge. It's the reason that people are dying. It's the reason that farmers are losing their farms, because we continue to peddle conspiracy theories. It is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter. Y'all, this is literally potentially putting us into an international crisis. We may be heading towards the next world war because we have a president that wants to pal around with Putin and wants to do everything to make him feel good, including lying about who invaded who. Mr. Chair, I got a minute left, but I really want to yield to any of my colleagues and ask them if they will say today, very basically, that when it came down to the war in Ukraine, that it was not Ukraine that invaded Russia, it was the other way around. Is there anybody in here that has enough courage to say that Russia invaded Ukraine?
Like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to tell you the truth about, I'm going to tell you a quick story. It's not a story, but it has something to do with me and politics. I wasn't very good at politics, nor am I good now at politics. I'm learning slowly but surely how politics work, how government works, how the economy works, how the presidency works, and so on and so forth. And now I'm just learning how voting works. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all a sham. If you are a conspiracy theorist, then you would realize or already have known or smart enough to know, because maybe I don't know, but you should be smart enough to know that in politics there is no such thing as fair. Fair is a place where they judge pigs. Fair is a place where the homeless person gets the piece of molded bread. Do with it with what you will. If the rich get richer, the poor get crumbs. I am great. I am fantastic. But I'm being honest right now. I'm being truthfully honest. When it comes to politics, I don't know shit from Shinola. The inner workings. I know the external, but the inner workings, I don't know shit. I don't know anything. The external workings, go to the polls, vote, blah blah blah. Democrat, Republican, Senate, legislator, state house, city councilman, blah blah blah. I already know all that. But the inner workings of how people are dressing themselves up and putting themselves in position to win a seat or win an office. That's the most frustrating thing that a person could do. And I, personally myself, am learning on the fly. And this is one of the reasons why I'm sticking my nose head first into city councilman. But in order for me to learn these things, I must know the ins and outs of politics. Is it worth it? Looking at Jasmine Crockett's situation, she did everything she could with the short amount of time she could do it in, and she damn near won. Damn near. But as Vin Diesel would put it, it doesn't matter if you win by inch or a mile. Winning is winning. And she was a little bit she was like a mile ahead. She could have caught up with a little Nas, but hey, it is what it is. In her situation, is it worth it? It's worth it for her, but she knew she got duped. She knew they were going to kick her off because they're sick and tired of her. But the one thing that I said earlier ago, the party that she represents, the Democratic Party, did they really want her there? Is what I'm asking. Did they really want her there? Did they really appreciate a woman like Jasmine Crockett, or they just like snuckering behind closed doors? I mean, was she what she said, what she did was unnecessary. I don't like her tone. I don't like this. I don't like that. I mean, I wish white folks would say what they feel, but we're not going to get honesty out of a bunch of hoodlums, if you know what I mean. I'm not calling them racist. I'm prejudiced. I'm calling them racist, but I'm not calling them prejudiced. Right? You can get honesty from a Klan member. At least they're honest. I give them that. At least they're honest. They hate black people. Okay, we all know this. From people from the Republican and the Democratic side, they may like you, but they may not like you, but they respect you. They respect you long enough to get your ass up out of there. And so when you took the chance of becoming the first black female in that county, in that particular county, you took a very big risk and you did a good job, just not good enough, according to resources. We all know what they were. And now that she knows, and now that she has, and this is still eating up at her, this is still fresh, this is still new, right? And I'm trying out both streams. So I am on Restream, and I'm also on Twitch. So I'm trying both channels. I'm just seeing how this shit works. But yeah, just comment in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Anybody got any questions for me? Feel free to comment in the comment section. We're just hitting it on all cylinders right now. Believe me, she will bounce back. But for the 92 people that are pissed off right now, they have every right to be. But what is the next step? What is the next step for the Democratic Party? Because mainly this is on them. This is not on her. This is on them. You didn't want to support her from the beginning. You knew where she was. You knew when she told you she was running, and yet she did not receive any help. I don't think she didn't receive any help until late when Kamala Harris endorsed her, and she got endorsed by another person. But this was all late, and she, again, I'm not taking anywhere from her. Thank you very so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm not taking anything away from her. But this is the mistake that certain people make. And on top of that, you still have a plethora of black voters, preferably black men who did not want to vote for her because simply she is a black woman. Did you say you were interested in working on city council? Yes, I did. Hey, somebody's got to do it. I look around in my state, in the state of Nevada, in the city of Las Vegas, where I'm at right now. It's decent. Some parts are decent, other parts not so much. I think it needs a color change. It's not too many of us roaming around, if you know what I mean. It's not too many of us. So I thought I'd stick my name in it. I thought I'd stick my name out there. Now, granted, I need to know the ropes. Ah, gotta have your cranberry juice. Cranberry juice for your liver and for your kidneys. Gotta have your cranberry juice. What made you think of working on city council? Well, truth be told, I know with my influence and a different face, you don't have to see the same white and Hispanic faces all the time. I believe I could make a difference if I put my mind and my spirit out there. Looking all around, there's certain places in the city of Las Vegas. Some of it is pretty like, needs a little changing here, need a little changing there. People are just working. It's just it's too cluttered right now with all the construction going on, and people are trying to get to work. I mean, it's just like a trap zone. If you try to go west, you got to cut south to go west again. Sometimes you got to go east to go where you need to go. I mean, it's a trap everywhere. And plus, certain people don't know how to freaking drive. I mean, the laws need to be. I mean, something needs to give. Something needs to give because some of these people need to get home. And then there's another thing. Um, the parks need to be cleaned because we got kids that are going out there and getting sick because people want to sit and piss and snot and all this other stuff. Some of these things need to be cleaned out. Uh, Other than that, I don't know whose position I would rather take. I haven't I haven't fully thought it out. I haven't fully checked anyone out that I would want to bounce out of there. So give me some time, give me some opportunities. But then again, like I said, with this going on, I clearly need to learn that particular position versus the position that Jasmine Crockett tried to take. Because one day, maybe if this all works out, I might want to work for Congress. I just might. I don't know yet. I just might want to work for Congress. We'll take one more and then we're going to have to hightail it. Can you attend a city council meeting in your area as a citizen and see how they are ran? You can ask a member question if it could be a good start. Yeah, I haven't thought of that. I mean, I'm still waiting for them to get back to me. I'm like, damn, it's like I gave you my number, like, and I gave you my email. I mean, what the hell's going on? Do I have to go up there myself? I guess I'm gonna have to. But hey, it's all good. It's all to the good. Okay, you're researching. That's fine. Yeah. I need to learn the lessons that were just. I need to learn the lessons that were just done just now with Mrs. Crockett, because oh my gilly little god, that was uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable in a sense. I wouldn't want to be in her position if it was like that because I know too many trick bags. I know tricks bags when I see them. Oh, tricky trick, rig the election. I wouldn't want anybody to. I wouldn't even want anybody to do that to me, because I wouldn't know what I would do. She was sad. She was furious, and I get it, and I totally get it. But let me see what we. Let me see. Uh, I'm still trying to learn how to do this on the fly. This thing here, let me see.
You can have my time.
And this is yet the problem. That is not infringing on free speech.
Will the gentlelady yield?
I will yield to the right.
Thank you, Ms. Crockett. To be clear, your challenge, I think, was across the aisle, because I think every member on your side of the aisle agrees with the obvious fact that Vladimir Putin ordered the filthy, bloody, imperialistic invasion of Ukraine. And in fact, at the time, Donald Trump as president never denied it. In fact, he praised it. He said it was, quote, an act of genius when Putin ordered the invasion of Ukraine. So I would hope some of our colleagues would consent to at least that historical point, since
She needs to be in that. She needs to be in the presidency. All the while, meanwhile, 150 people were murdered, deleted, gone, kaput, not seeing their families anymore, according to sources. As a matter of fact, let's see what's been happening in the news as of late. And keep in mind these things when going to war often come with a very, very heavy price. And oh, by the way, Trump lied and said that he did not fire off those tomahawks. If he didn't fire off the tomahawks, who did fire off those damn tomahawks?
Raids across that border into southern Lebanon. CNN chief international security correspondent Nick Walsh is live joining us right now. He's done extensive reporting on Israel's operation against Hezbollah in Lebanon. What are you learning today, Nick?
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. But either way, this war is going to cost us not only billions of dollars, which most likely we do not have, but it's going to cost us thousands and thousands of lives. Thousands and thousands of lives. And this is what you stand for? This is what you want? What's going on?
Have been forced to leave their homes, seeking shelter elsewhere, and that's put an enormous burden on the Lebanese authorities to try and cater for them, to give them shelter, to give them medical attention, and to give them food. And you're right, there have been calls from the Lebanese president for negotiations, for a ceasefire by air, land and sea, to allow for talks to take place between Israel and Lebanon and the international community, so that the Lebanese army can move finally towards disarming Hezbollah. But frankly, I mean, they've been promising to do that for some time. And what we've seen, or what Israel has seen over the course of the past couple of years, is an inability or lack of capacity on the part of the Lebanese military to do that. And so it looks like, you know, from those scenes that you're reporting, that we're seeing in Beirut right now, that the Israelis are, for the moment, taking the matter into their own hands.
All right, Matthew Chance in Beirut tonight. And it all comes as the defense secretary in the U.S., Pete Hegseth, is projecting incredible confidence, claiming that Iran is on the run.
The mullahs are desperate and scrambling. Like the terrorist cowards they are.
Well, that may not reflect the reality on the ground, given Iran is upping the ante now by laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz tonight, according to the U.S. government. It comes as one of the most influential MAGA voices is tearing into Trump's war.
It just seems so insane based on...
The death toll has been mounting across the Middle East tonight. Israel are intensifying their war with Iran, and Iran is continuing to retaliate, though at a lesser pace than in the first days of this conflict. Iran's United Nations envoy says that more than 1,300 of those killed are Iranian civilians, and the heavy bombardment has even led to some close calls for CNN's own team on the ground in Tehran, which I should note is operating there with the permission of the Iranian government, though we maintain full editorial control of our reporting. But here's what happened with Fred Pleiken earlier on the ground.
There's been heavy bombardment in Tehran over the past 24 hours, as we've heard and felt. We visited a site when all of a
Oops. Sorry. Wrong button. I was trying to see breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. We got some stuff going on here, folks. Oh, wait. Where'd it go?
Gas prices skyrocketing here in the U.S. This new video just in our newsroom showing strikes on more than a dozen Iranian vessels, including what the military said were ships that could have laid explosive mines in the strait. The president warning if Iran attacked ships there, the U.S. would hit back even harder. That comes just hours after the defense secretary vowed, in his words, the most intense day of strikes yet. That intensity on full display in these new videos. Launchers firing and intercepting Iranian missiles in the sky. Iranian launchers, the U.S. says, were hitting in tunnels and under overpasses, blown to bits. And this, Iranian boat after boat going up in flames. All of it as we're learning more about the toll this war.
140 wounded.
Taking on our service members. They're announcing some 140 wounded in addition to the 7 that have already been killed. Our teams
140 wounded. 7 killed.
Covering the latest. Garrett Hake at the White House tonight.
Anybody?
Tonight, a massive wave of regime and a wild ride for oil prices. Due to this post from Energy Secretary Chris Wright, U.S. Navy successfully escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. Wright quickly deleting the post.
I can confirm that the U.S. Navy has not escorted a tanker or a vessel at this time.
President Trump warning Iran to stop threatening oil tankers from traveling through the strait.
I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level.
And oil prices tonight plunging down to around $86 a barrel. All as inside Iran, the Pentagon's over 5,000 targets.
Today will be, yet again, our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes.
Including taking out hidden missile launchers.
Ballistic missile attacks continue to trend downward, 90% from where they've started, and one-way attack drones have decreased 83%.
Though Iran still launching attacks on its Arab neighbors. This video shows a drone chased by United Arab Emirates fighter. In Bahrain, the government says a woman was killed during an Iranian strike on a residential neighborhood. A new question of the war timeline. President Trump saying the U.S. is, quote, very far ahead of its initial 4 to 5 week schedule.
It's going to be finished pretty quickly.
But also,
We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough.
and the president has also suggested he should have a role picking the new Iranian leader. We pressed the White House.
Is the ending of this war also contingent on Iran selecting a leader that the president finds acceptable? So how is that not the definition of a regime change war?
Look, as President Trump has blatantly and frankly stated, it's obviously within the best interest of the United States and the West no longer have a radical terrorist in charge of Iran. We have objectives that we have laid out that the commander-in-chief wants to see achieved.
And now a new image of the 5 members of the Iranian women's soccer team just granted asylum in Australia. Iranian state TV branded them traitors for regime national anthem.
Oh boy. It sounds like Colin Kaepernick all over again. So what if they don't want to sing the national anthem? Who cares?
Yesterday on the team bus, players had flashed the sign "Help" as crowds chanted "Save our girls."
They are safe here and they should feel at home here.
Well, what about the girls that got bombed today? I don't know how many of them are, but it was a small school that got bombed today. What about those lives? Oops.
You're joined us tonight again from the White House. So I know you have new reporting on the U.S. service in this war.
That's right, Tom. The Pentagon saying 140 service members or so have been wounded, most with minor injuries, and they've returned to duty, but 8. And last night, the dignified transfer ceremony for Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington was held. He's the 7th service member killed in this war. Tom?
All right, Garrett. All that uncertainty over the shipping channel as well in the Middle East. The price of oil may have gone down today, but the price of gas still skyrocketing. Camila Bernal now on the impact those prices are having.
Fallout from the war plain to see at every gas station across the U.S. The price of a gallon of gas now up 55 cents since the war began.
It definitely makes us second guess some of the financial decisions that we make.
In California, with the country's highest prices, gas is well above $5 a
gallon. 200 miles, 200 to 300 miles a day.
Yasha Timinovich drives for ride services for about 10 hours a day.
What is it like for you when you drive around and gas at $5.79 a gallon?
Makes me sick.
Wild swings in crude oil prices also hitting hard for farmers just beginning the spring planting season.
I have a tractor that requires 100 gallons of diesel fuel to fill it up, and it costs me $469.
Forget it. Just forget it. Well, I don't know what to tell you, folks. I just don't know what to tell you. The Trump regime is something else. The Trump regime is just something else. Like, share, subscribe channel. Like, share, subscribe channel. It just pains me to see oil rig workers and all those people who drive rigs up and down the states. It just pains my heart. It just pains me. It just pains my heart to see them have to pay so much money to fill up those rigs each and every single day. It pains me, especially living in California and in Texas. Oh my gosh, I feel for y'all. I really do. But I can't talk because I know in the state of Nevada, it's already $4 right now. It's already $4 right now. Will we be LA pretty soon? Maybe. But are we surprised at this? Didn't this happen under George Bush as well? When he was fighting the Iraqis then? Wasn't this under George Bush? Of course this was under George Bush. This is the Iraqis all over again. So people shouldn't be surprised at this. What is going to be surprising is the reaction of some of these people who want Trump gone. It is cheaper in Texas than most places. Gas for me was $3.98. Are you in the state of Texas or something? You never told me where you were from. You're in the state of Texas right now? It's going to affect everybody. Believe me. If you don't believe me, just wait in in a week or so. You'll see the difference. You will see the difference. But you got to be aware for those people who want to be slick and just up the prices. No, don't go to those. Don't go to those. Why did you vote for Jasmine Crockett then? No. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. As I know you voted for. So people are getting tired of Trump. People are getting tired of Trump and his bullshit. So much so. So much so.
Foreign countries in the last year. He's hit one twice. And let me give you the list in case you're not keeping track at home. Somalia, Iraq, Yemen, Iran, the Caribbean, exact location we don't know, undisclosed, Syria, Nigeria, Venezuela, Iran again, and now Ecuador. And I am going to keep reminding you and anyone else who will listen, he wants to hit Cuba and probably Mexico. He wants to continue to deploy troops domestically. He may invoke the Insurrection Act. And the most important story is still and always, and especially right now, that Donald Trump can do anything he wants with the most powerful military the world has ever seen, and nothing is stopping him or even slowing him down. Congress is a failure. I've talked about it this week. I said yesterday, they're not state troopers trying to take Trump's runaway car. They're more like mall cops. He is blowing past them. And as I warned, they haven't even voted on Iran yet, and he's already on to another country, Ecuador. Trump has hit 9 foreign countries in the last year. He's hit one twice. And let me give you the list in case you're not keeping track at home. Somalia, Iraq, Yemen, Iran, the Caribbean, exact location we don't know, undisclosed, Syria, Nigeria, Venezuela, Iran again, and now Ecuador. And I am going to keep reminding you and anyone else who will listen, he wants to hit Cuba and probably Mexico. He wants to continue to deploy troops domestically. He may invoke the Insurrection Act. And the most important...
Wow. I want to thank the Supreme Court Justice personally for giving this man autonomy over Congress and the Senate, because right now the House is not doing jack you know what to prevent this man from breaking laws and all this other stuff. I'm immune to it until somebody else stops him. until I see a body, until I see capture, until I see him fall out for some odd strange reason, like the other guy did. I mean, that was kind of weird. The guy just fell out of his chair, and Trump turned his back. Like, wow. I had to find that clip, but so he wants all these Pacific countries, and some of us already know the reason why he wants these countries. Is simply put, he wants control. He wants to build a worldwide government along with Israel, build a one world government. And this is the reason why we're fighting Iran right now. You take out Iran, you get that whole big giant sector over there. And no one can stop you. No one can stop you from doing it. No one can stop you from claiming it. And it really doesn't matter what he did. But somebody has to be in position to tell him to sit his old 80-year-old ass down. And I fear that she has already left the building. You had an opportunity right then and there to put her in a position to win. Not only in a position to win, but you should put her in a position to deal with a person like this who was afraid. If he wasn't so afraid of Jasmine Crockett, why didn't he just let her run? If he wasn't so afraid of her, why didn't he just let her run? Why did John Paxton interfere? Why did John Paxton give everybody the runaround? Why did she lose because of voter suppression? Does anybody know? And this is the reason why I need to learn. I need to learn heavy about situations like this, because what happens if I'm not saying I will be, but what happens if I were in the position just like she was and things were being done to me? I want my base to tell me everything that I need to know how to win. If I have to spend more money, if I have to put out more ads, what do I have to do? This is the more crucial thing. This is the crucial thing in life to think about if you want to be in a position like city council or senate or legislature or any other position, even mayor. You have to know your ins and outs, your do's and don'ts, how much money you have to spend, how much money you need to raise. Jasmine needed to raise some money as well as spend some money. But she did a good job. She did an awesome job. I'm not raining on her parade. I just think she did an awesome goddamn job. Now, other people, on the other hand, coons and coons alike, I'm not paying attention to you because, simply put, you're a bunch of haters. You are a bunch of freaking haters. Hold on. Usually it just pop up. It just pop up like that. Hold on a second.
Yourself, Governor Abbott, all y'all. The woman is crashing out because Jasmine Crockett lost her primary. This is not America! Okay, I'm so upset. I cannot believe
believe this is happening to our country. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves, Governor Abbott. All y'all. Shame. Shame. Shame on you guys. This is ridiculous. You're going to do whatever you can to suppress our folks. You already gerrymandered everything. You just gotta make it worse. You just gotta make it harder, huh? That's okay. I still fucking voted, you bastards.
Yeah, maybe don't upload a video where you're basically foaming at the mouth over this whole issue. And honestly, I thought this was Joy Reid for a second as well. But once again, if you Democrats actually believe that this election was stolen, then maybe you should pass the SAVE Act. But in all honesty, if they're looking for somebody to blame Jasmine Crockett, because she is the person that did absolutely nothing while she was in Congress. So let me know what you think about this in the comments, and remember to follow me for more videos like this. This woman is crashing out because Jasmine Crockett
Coons. And I don't mind it so much because what goes around comes around. It's like, what is your position? Or rather, I'm sorry, what do you think, what is your position in this administration? What do you think, what do you gain from all of this? What do you gain from all of this? It certainly ain't no black pussy. It's certainly not that. So what do you hope to gain out of all of this? Money? A seat at the table? What do you gain? Absolutely nothing. Let's check out another one. Or better yet, let's hear this bum speak. Let's see. What happened? Oh, whatever.
Leading our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers, an 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get. And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less, accurately right on the noggin. So now we have low-cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones, and our B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran and buried deep under Iranian soil in many cases. The soil was no match. And we're also annihilating the manufacturing base that the regime uses to build drones and missiles at a rate that nobody thought was possible. We're knocking them out. We know where they all are. We're knocking them out very quickly. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe would be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with the situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole where they were involved. Very strongly, they always denied it. But where they were very strongly involved. And all of the people that died through the roadside bombs died and are right now walking around with no legs, no arms, a face that's been so badly damaged. The Iranian regime has been attacking Americans and spreading terror for 47 years, and despite these countless opportunities to renounce their nuclear ambitions, which they had just a short while ago, they told Mr. Witkoff, who is standing right over here, they said, they actually said, we want to keep building. Essentially, in a real nutshell, we want to continue to build nuclear weapons. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated. It was very lucky that we had the courage to do that, that we had the talented pilots and the great equipment. The B-2 bombers are unbelievable. We ordered 25 more, by the way. The newer, better version. It's
the newer, better.
We have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. You see that no matter where we go. You still need the people, though, to operate at the nuclear sites in operation. Midnight Hammer, they never negotiated in good faith. They still continued to say, we want to build nuclear. We want enrichment at levels that were unacceptable. And an offer for unlimited free nuclear fuel forever for civilian purposes. We had people offering them free nuclear fuel. They weren't interested in that because they wanted to build a nuclear weapon. So instead, the regime was trying to institute its weapons program at a different site. They couldn't go back to where they were, 3 sites that we obliterated, but they were starting work at another site, a different site, different kind of a site, and that was protected by granite. They wanted it protected. Granite's pretty good, but they wanted it protected by a lot deeper. They wanted to go a lot deeper, and they started the process while rapidly building conventional ballistic missiles. They were going to do it all at the same time. It threatened our overseas bases and soon could have reached even our homeland. The regime's intention was to use this exponentially growing ballistic missile threat to make it virtually impossible to prevent them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. So as you probably saw, they had a tremendous number of missiles, most of which have now been used or destroyed, and very unsuccessfully used because we have been able, for the most part, to shoot them all down. What incredible technology. The Patriots have been unbelievable, and other things. And the laser technology that we have now is incredible. It's coming out pretty soon. Where literally lasers will do the work of, at a lot less cost, do the work of what the Patriots are doing or what other things are doing. The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable. In my opinion, Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Mark, so involved, that I thought they were going to attack us. I thought if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And if you notice, they did something which was very foolish, very stupid, I would say. They attacked their neighbors. And their neighbors were largely neutral, or at least weren't going to be involved, and they get attacked. And it had the reverse effect. Neighbors came onto our side and started attacking them, and actually quite sick. If you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at UAE, Qatar, and others, but they were strong and they were smart, but they got attacked. Nobody, when I first heard it, I said, no, somebody made a mistake. There was no mistake. UAE had over 1,000 missiles shot at it, knocked them almost all down. On the very first day I came down the escalator in 2015, I said, quote, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and all I'm doing is keeping my promise. Think of that. That was in 2015. It was a threat then, and it's a bigger threat now, but no longer a threat away. We want to keep it that way. Continue Operation Epic Fury. We're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world, and I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets that were easy and that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game. In the long run, we'll be dramatically more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea. But we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. In recent years, the regime and its terror proxies have launched attacks on hundreds of commercial vessels. We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and it will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families. We've done that. We've done it. We brought it very low. This was just an excursion into something that we're getting very close to. During this brief disruption, the United States is offering political risk insurance to any tankers operating in the Gulf. So we're putting up risk insurance. We'll perhaps go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary if it is. And if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they will have wished they never did it, because you have to keep the straits flowing. With all of that, it affects countries much more than it does the United States. It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil. We have tremendous oil and gas, much more than we need. We have Venezuela now as our new partner, great partner. They've worked out so wonderful. We're working with the administration, the president, and it's a massive source of oil, gas, everything. But we're in a very good position, but very unfair to other parts of the world, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're doing this. We have a very good relationship with President Xi in China. I'm going there in a short period of time, and we're protecting the world from what these lunatics are trying to do, and very successfully, I might add. We're also waiving oil-related sanctions to reduce prices. So we have sanctions on some countries. We're going to take those sanctions off till this straightens out. Then who knows, maybe we won't have to put them on. There'll be so much peace. But when the time comes, the U.S. Navy and its partners will escort tankers through the strait if needed, I hope it's not going to be needed, but if it's needed, we'll escort them right through. And we have the greatest mine-sweeping ability. We have the greatest ship. We know exactly where they're placed. We'll get them out of there very fast. But we hope we don't have any of that. And again, if they do that, if they play that game, we're going to hit them at a level that they have not seen before. So we're winning very decisively. Our military is the greatest in the world, with the greatest equipment and the greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Iran's a very powerful country. They were going to take over the Middle East. They were going to take the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands since their last hit.
Shut the fuck up, Trump. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Didn't I tell you to shut up? Hold on. Breaking news, people. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. What Trump is not telling American. High alert. Oh, fuck. Oh, boy. Oh, we're in a pickle now. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Trump. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. Hold on. I gotta hold up.
Israeli regime has once again revealed the extent of the United States' hostility towards the peace-seeking people of Iran, who will never compromise over their independence and sovereignty. The Islamic Republic of Iran.
Ladies and gentlemen, Iran warns the U.S. Warns U.S. strikes will happen everlasting. In other words, it can happen at any time. I don't know if they can. Again, I don't know if they can reach the U.S. We're fucked. We are completely fucked. Thanks, Trump. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks. Thanks.
The world has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens to further the Israeli regime's objectives. The U.S. act of aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities constitutes only a flagrant breach of the UN Charter, especially the prohibition of the use of force under Article 2, Paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231. It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the U.S., a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime. The Islamic Republic of Iran reminds the United Nations, the Security Council, the UN Secretary General, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and other relevant international bodies of their duty and responsibility to take urgent and decisive action in response to this breach of international law. Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos. Humanity has come too far as a species to allow a lawless bully to take us back to the law of the jungle. The Islamic Republic of Iran calls on the Security Council to convene an emergency session to unequivocally condemn the criminal act of aggression by the United States against Iran and to
Barb,
hold the
do you have
administration in
Lisa's
Washington
number?
accountable for its violations of fundamental principles of United Nations Charter and of norms of international law. The responsibility of the IAEA and its Director General, who through evidence bias in favor of warmongering parties paved the way for the current violence and bloodshed, is now clearer than ever. We call on the IAEA Board of Governors to immediately convene and carry out its legal responsibility in response to the dangerous U.S. attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, all of which have been under the agency's full safeguards and monitoring. The world must not forget that it was the United States which, in the midst of a process to forge a diplomatic outcome, betrayed diplomacy by supporting the genocidal Israeli regime's launch of an illegal war of aggression on the Iranian nation. Not content with such malign actions, the United States itself has now also opted for a dangerous military operation and aggression against the people of Iran. In doing so, holds sole and full responsibility for the consequences of its actions, including the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to self-defense under the principles of the United Charter. In accordance with the UN Charter and its provisions allowing a legitimate response in self-defense, Iran reserves all options to defend its security interests and people. Thank you very much.
We will now be taking questions. We'd like to start with the Associated Press.
Distinguished Minister, are the doors for negotiation still open? Can you hear me now? Distinguished Minister, the question is as follows. Is the door for negotiation still open?
No translation.
I'm live on all streams. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, hit the like button.
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
Oh, man, you can't even.
In the English channel, can you hear me?
If I may just step in here and just translate real quick for my colleague. He's asking if there are still room for negotiations moving forward.
It's all right now. You can translate. Is okay.
Türkçe mi? Sayın Bakan Ahmet Gannan bir televizyon Arabi. Müzakerelere hala kapı açık mı görüyorsunuz? Tahran'la görüşmüş müydünüz? Bugün
negotiation door contact Tehran. What kind of damage has been incurred on the nuclear facilities? Is there any intermediary country like Turkey, like Saudi Arabia, like Qatar? Are you continuing your such activities of mediation? How do you see the process? Thank you.
Well, I have been in touch with Tehran, of course. I still do not have information about the level of damages, but I don't think it matters how much damages have been made. Attacking a nuclear facility by itself is an unforgivable violation of international law and should be condemned. Yesterday, as I said, I had discussion and talks with a number of foreign ministers of the region. Almost all of them are very much concerned and interested to end this aggression by Israel, of course. They were worried about a possible attack by the United States, but yesterday we were all talking about how to stop the Israeli aggression. Well, of course, the door for diplomacy should be always keep open, but this is not the case right now. My country has been under attack, under aggression, and we have to respond based on our legitimate right of self-defense. And we will do that as long as needed and necessary.
Thank you, Trump. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'd now like to take a question from Al Jazeera.
This is what they want. This is what the people want. You already have 150 lives gone for.
Thank you very much, Minister. So you say that you need to respond right now, but we know that Iranians are known for their talents in negotiations, in diplomacy and trade. What would be the conditions responding for Iran to come back to a negotiation table, maybe with the U.S. as well? And Turkey has been offering that Ankara can mediate for a trilateral between Turkey, U.S. and Iran. What would be your response to that? Because right now the U.S. is technically involved in this conflict. Thank you.
Well, I think it is irrelevant to ask Iran to return to diplomacy, because we were in the middle of diplomacy. We were in the middle of talks with the United States when Israelis blew it up. And again, we were in the middle of talks and negotiations with Europeans, happened also in Geneva, when this time Americans decided to blow it up. So we were in diplomacy, but we were attacked militarily. So it was not Iran, but the US who betrayed diplomacy. They betrayed negotiations. When at the middle of negotiations with us, they gave green light to Israelis, if not instructed them to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. I think they have proved that they are not men of diplomacy, and they only understand the language of threat and force. And this is very unfortunate. The United States showed that they have no respect to United Nations Charter, respect to international law. They have no respect to any international law regarding, managing the board and facing challenges of the board. There is no red line that they have not crossed. And the last one, and the most dangerous one, happened only last night, when they crossed a very big red line by attacking nuclear facilities. I don't know how much room is left for diplomacy. We are now calculating the damages. And as I said, the damages are not only for our nuclear facilities, for the United
The
Nations
like
Charter.
button.
It was
The
not
like.
only Iran's facilities which was bombed, it was also
Like,
the
share,
United Nations
subscribe.
Charter.
Like, share, subscribe.
It was also non-proliferation regime and NPT, which was bombed last night by Americans. And it was
They had enough. They
the rule
wanted
of
it.
law and international law which was bombed. So now we have to see how much room is left for diplomacy, and we will decide.
I'd like to hand over to TRT World.
You wanted to make negotiations, and then wanted
Mr.
to back
Minister,
out
the
the
U.S.
last minute.
President Donald Trump warned that Iran must now make peace, otherwise the future attacks, he says, would be far greater and much easier. So how is Tehran responding to death threats from Washington? Thank you.
I think it's not up to Iran to respond to that. The whole international community should respond of such a clear threat against the United Nations Charter. Iran has done nothing wrong. We do not understand why Iran should be attacked for a false accusation that Iran is seeking nuclear weapons. It's now more than 20 years. Peaceful nuclear program is in fact peaceful and would remain peaceful.
America.
We negotiated for a long time with the so-called P5+1, and we came to a deal which the whole world celebrated as an achievement of diplomacy. And then it was the US who withdrew from that deal and reimposed their sanctions and restarted their threats.
Too late. They're
Again, we
already
were
in there.
negotiating with the same administration. Then all of a sudden they decided to
140
attack
got
us,
wounded today.
first by Israelis, then by
Seven
themselves.
are already perished.
And now they are threatening us for more attacks.
All because of this.
So it's not up to Iran, but it's up to international
All
community
because of the
to
orange
condemn
man.
this, to prevent this.
Thanks,
Otherwise,
Trump.
there
Thank
will be
you.
nothing left for the international law, for the security at the world level. The Security Council should play its role, should play its responsibility to condemn and prevent these kind of threats. We will certainly defend our interest. We will certainly
Damn right,
defend
damn
our
we.
territorial integrity, our sovereignty, and our people. And I'm so glad that our people are now
They're going to
fully
show you
understand
that they're not weak.
what injustice they are doing against the Iranian people.
We're in their
They are
territory.
united and in solidarity with the government, and we stand firm against.
Next, CNN Türk.
Mr. Minister, how do you assess the West's stance on Israel massacres? No one seems to mention Israel's allegedly illegal nuclear weapons. The German Chancellor even said Israel is doing the dirty work for us. So what is your response? Thank you.
Well, what should I say? You said everything. That Iran is under attack by a nuclear-armed superpower and a nuclear-armed regime.
27 bases in the
And
Middle
Iran,
East
as you know, is
already
a
gone.
non-nuclear-armed country.
140
That should be
wounded.
certainly condemned.
7
If
dead.
not, the whole non-proliferation regime would be undermined
Take notes,
and
people. Take notes.
would be defeated. Iran is a committed member of NPT. But NPT is not able to protect us. A country like Iran, these who are interested to have a peaceful nuclear energy, should rely on NPT for their peaceful activities. It is very unfortunate that Israel is doing as the German Chancellor called, a dirty job. And by the way, they supported that dirty job. It's a shame. They know that Israel is doing a dirty job and they support it and they give it every right to do it and they call it defending itself.
Yeah, why are they dependent on the U.S. so much?
It's really a shame. Pardon?
Why are you dependent upon U.S. and Britain to do your dirty work?
Well, I think I'm not in a position to reveal what we are going to do in response to what Americans did last night. I just talked about the fact that NPT failed to protect Iran from and its peaceful nuclear program, and this is a serious challenge.
Next, we'd like to take a question from IRIB. IRIB, if I can get a question from IRIB.
Yılmaz Varlar, Türkiye Gazete, Türkiye Cumhuriyeti'nde çıkan gazete.
I'm from a Turkic newspaper and also representing Net News Agency. It is indicated that China is supporting Iran. How do you evaluate its deterrence power vis-a-vis USA and Israel? And can we learn your expectations about your relations with the Russian Federation?
It is written not allow Israel to destroy it.
Well, there was a problem with the translation, or I think the device doesn't work properly.
Many bigger nations.
I understood the last part of your question.
All in the biblical text.
Well, I'm going to Moscow this afternoon, and I have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow morning. Russia is
I know my Bible. Do you know yours?
And we enjoy a strategic partnership, and we always
That's why Nebuchadnezzar had a dream
with each other and
and
coordinate
he
our
asked
positions.
Daniel, why am I, what
Russia
was
has
the dream?
been a part of JCPOA, so they have been always a party to nuclear negotiations. And even in the past
Daniel, my
2-3
friend.
months that we were negotiating with the United States, we always briefed our Russian friends about the latest about any progress or lack of progress in our talks. Well, I will have serious consultations with the Russian president tomorrow, and we continue to work with each other. Russia is also a permanent member of the Security Council, and we know that they were trying, together with China, to introduce a resolution to the Security Council for the cessation of hostilities. Obviously, now the situation has been changed, and I will have discussion with them about how it should be proceed.
I need to know what
Final question from IRIB. If we can hand over the microphone to the gentleman right there. Thank you.
Just don't cite something and not give me a chapter and a verse.
خسته نباشید آقای عرفچی. از خدمتتون که دیروز آقای اردوغان صحبت‌هایی داشتن در مورد میانجیگری، فکر می‌کنید نقش ترکیه در این رابطه به چه
Thank you. Yesterday, President Erdogan mentioned a mediation instrument. Can Turkey handle such a diplomacy or mediation?
Erdogan, رئیس جمهور محترم
He's bidding on what they do until the Supreme Court steps in.
I had very productive meetings with the President of the Republic of Turkey yesterday, and I also had contacts with some of the countries of the region. Some of the region, such as Turkey, are indicating that they could be mediating so that the
lots of useful, important meetings with the foreign ministers of our region, and we discussed about different initiatives and ideas existed for a peaceful settlement of this question. But as all of you know, we suddenly faced with the aggression by American forces to our nuclear facilities. The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. It is an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression. The U.S. military attack on the territorial integrity and national sovereignty of a UN member state carried out with genocidal Israeli regime, carried out in collusion with the genocidal Israeli regime, has once again revealed the extent of the United States' hostility towards the peace-seeking people of Iran, who will never compromise over their independence and sovereignty. The Islamic Republic of Iran continue to defend Iran's territory, sovereignty, security, and people by all means necessary against not just U.S. military aggression, but also the reckless and unlawful actions of the Israeli regime. While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly involvement of forever wars in our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens to further the Israeli regime's objectives. Aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities constitutes not only a flagrant breach of the UN Charter, especially the prohibition of the use of force under Article 2, Paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231. It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the US, a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime. The Islamic Republic of Iran reminds the United Nations, the Security Council, the UN Secretary General, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and other relevant international bodies of their duty and responsibility to take urgent and decisive action in response to this breach of international. Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos. Humanity has come too far as a species to allow a lawless bully to take us back to the law of the jungle. The Islamic Republic of Iran calls on the Security Council to convene an emergency session to unequivocally condemn the criminal act of aggression by the United States against Iran and to hold the administration in in Washington accountable for its violations of fundamental principles of United Nations Charter norms of international law.
Yep.
The responsibility of the IAEA and its Director General, who through evidence bias in favor of warmongering parties paved the way for the current violence and bloodshed, is now clearer than ever. We call on the IAEA Board of Governors to immediately convene and carry out its legal responsibility in response to the dangerous US attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, all of which have been under the agency's full safeguards and monitoring. The world must not forget that it was the United States, in the midst of a process to forge a diplomatic outcome, betrayed diplomacy by supporting the genocidal Israeli regime's launch of an illegal war of aggression on the Iranian nation. Not content with such malign actions, the United States itself has now also opted for a dangerous military operation
Those
and
who are
aggression
not just coming in,
against the people of Iran.
thank you for the share, like, share.
In doing so, the U.S. administration holds sole and full responsibility for the consequences
75
of
people.
its
Let's get
actions,
some more likes.
including the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to self-defense under the principles of the United Charter. In accordance with the UN Charter and its provisions allowing a legitimate response in self-defense, Iran reserves all options to defend its security interests and people.
We're in trouble.
Thank you very much.
We are in trouble. We are in deep trouble.
We will now be taking questions. We'd like to start with the Associated Press.
Now, is that a fair? Is this loot? I think this is loot. I'm not sure.
Distinguished Minister, are the doors for negotiation still open?
It is loot. So, let's go to the next best thing, shall we? Let's go to the next best thing. And of course, let me see. Ah, here we go. We're at high alert.
Much work to be done, which is why the BI continues to work alongside the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of War to defend. And Pete Hegseth has been fantastic, by the way, on this too, on other things, but on this too, to defend law and order and combat violent crime, arrest illegal aliens, and make American cities the safest in the world. And when I campaigned, I talked about crime, but I never knew that we were going to get like we did. You know, I mean, I used to watch these cities with the murders. Chicago recently had one deal where they had 11 murders in one weekend, and they said, well, yeah, but it was a holiday weekend. They actually told me that was the reason. Like it was okay because it was a holiday. It was Labor Day. These people are the worst. They better, I tell you what, the people in Chicago and the people in places like that can be fixed. At some point, it gets to where you can't fix it anymore. It's too far gone. And we have some cities like that. But these are great cities that can be fixed. I'm going to be strongly recommending, at the request of government officials, it's nice that you start looking at San Francisco. I think we can make San Francisco, there's one of our great cities 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Now it's a mess. And we have great support in San Francisco. So I'd like to recommend that for inclusion, maybe in your next group. You'll get great support. Every American deserves to live in a community where they're not afraid of being mugged, murdered, robbed, raped, assaulted, or shot. And that's exactly what our administration is working to deliver. I didn't realize I was going to make this such a big factor in the administration. I didn't really campaign. I campaigned on crime, but I never thought we'd go into every city and take a really safe city that we've all been living with for years
Iran
and make them safe. And now it's like passion for me, and it's a passion for the people behind me. So I didn't get elected. I did get elected for crime, but I didn't get elected for what we're doing. This is many, many steps above. And I want to thank Stephen Miller, who's right back in the audience right there. I'd love to have him. I love watching him on television. I'd love to have him come up and explain his true feelings, but maybe not his truest feelings. That might be going a little bit too far. But thank you for doing an unbelievable job. And the people of this country love you, I tell you, and they love what you say about crime and stopping crime. So now I'd like to ask Director Patel to say a few words, and then Pam and Todd also. And I just want to congratulate them. This is an amazing thing, and we're just at the start. We're going to go into other cities that we're not talking about purposely. We're getting ready to go in. And when they go in, like Cash's example told me that people didn't even, 5 months ago, they went into Chicago and they started doing a lot of work in Chicago. And we brought the numbers down a little bit. And, but that really was just preparatory work for what we're going to do with the surge. We're going to have a surge of strong,
thank the Supreme
good
Court
people,
for this one.
patriots, and they're going to go in, they straighten it all out. So a lot of these cities we're already working on, but we don't do it with a big flavor. But in a little while, you're going to see some numbers that you're not going to believe. And I think you'll probably start with Memphis, because I'm hearing the numbers are much quicker than we even thought possible. But again, D.C. it speaks for itself. Chicago is going to be okay. We're going to save Chicago. And I told you, and I told them, a very respected man, the head of the Union Pacific, said, "Sir, save Chicago. It can be saved." And the way he said it, it was like, can you believe it? We're trying to save Chicago. But I understood exactly what he wants, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to save all of our cities, and we're going to make them essentially crime-free, like other countries have crime-free. If you go all over the world, you go to the world, you hear Afghanistan and you hear all these different places. Our crime in certain cities is worse than anything they can even imagine. And we're not going to have that any longer. It's going to stop, and it stops right here. Cash, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. What I'd like to do is just highlight some of the outstanding work that the men and women of the FBI have been doing. And thanks to your brave leadership and the mandate you were given by the American people to not only defend the homeland but crush violent crime, you tasked us with our great partners at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General to start making arrests and bring prosecutions and safeguard our cities. And you said it, this is just the beginning. In just 7 months, I hope the media takes a look at everyone, because these are the best numbers for fighting crime in U.S. history, and it's only 7 months in. And to do that, our vehicle to do it of choice was Operation Summer Heat, which the FBI architected to go after violent criminals. And on span, you had 8,700 arrests of violent criminals. You had 2,200 firearms seized off the streets permanently to safeguard our communities. You had 421 kilograms of fentanyl seized. Just to put that in perspective, that's enough to kill 55 million Americans alone. You had 45,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, and thanks to our Department of Justice partners, you had 2,100 indictments in 3 months, from June to September alone. Mr. President, that itself would be historic for a 4-year presidency. You did that in 7 months because you let good cops be cops, and you partnered us with the right people at the Department of Justice to put the handcuffs on and bring them to court and put them in prison. And if that weren't enough, when you look at the year, for the entire 7-month period that we're talking about here, if you look at the past 4 years of the Biden administration, 16,000, 17,000, 15,000, 15,000. That's the number of arrests year over year of violent felons in this country for the Biden administration. Mr. President, in 7 months, you have 28,600 arrests of violent felons in just 7 months alone, because of your leadership, who want and do the job they prevented from doing, because that to be weaponized and politicized. And this is what happens when you take out the fangs of weaponization. This number is historic by every metric. 28,000 people have been arrested, violent felons alone. And then when you go over there and look at some of these charts, if you don't mind, I'll just hop over here. Look at the metrics for not just violent crime, but the homeland. Mr. President, during your administration, the FBI has found and located 5,400 children. That is a 30% increase year to date over the last. Violent crimes against children arrests alone are up 10%. Gang arrests are up 210% in the last 7 months alone. And transnational organized crime, which Stephen Miller has been a great partner in, is up over 12% alone. These numbers are historic just as a snapshot. But just so people don't think we're focusing on violent crime alone, the national security mission, Mr. President, under your leadership has never been stronger. We have gone after espionage activities counterparts in China, Russia, and Iran. In China alone, we've had over a 50% increase in espionage arrests alone in prosecution. In Iran, we have had a 50% increase, again, in espionage cases. And in Russia, we've had a 30% increase in espionage cases alone. When it comes to counterterrorism, year to date, we have 125 arrests this year versus 100 last year, year to date alone. And when it comes to the cyber criminal activities, which are some of the largest enterprises plaguing everyday Americans, we at the FBI have put out a mission to go after cyber criminals like never before. Last year, they had in total 191. This year, you already have 252 arrests. 52 arrests of violent cyber criminals who are stealing from senior citizens, who are violating our children's rights and freedoms, and who are violating everyday Americans. These programs are record. And two of the things I'll finish with that I'm most proud of, Mr. President, this FBI. Fentanyl. As you know, it's a scourge that is killing our youth, 100,000 plus a year. To date, the FBI has seized 1,900 kilograms of fentanyl. That's enough lethal doses to kill 127 million Americans alone, to date. And if that weren't enough, Mr. President, you said we have to go after the worst of the worst. And you empowered our Department of Justice, our Attorney General, our Deputy Attorney General, and the Deputy Director at the FBI led the charge, not just on summer heat, but he also led the charge to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. These people have been on the run for years. And in 7 months, you captured not one, not two, not three of the FBI's top 10 fugitives. 4. Just to put that in perspective, Mr. President, the Biden administration captured 4 in all of 4 years. You're on 7, and we're going to get to 10. We're going to get to 10 of 10. This includes a lady who murdered her 6-year-old handicapped child and fled to India. We got her in 2 months. This includes a narco trafficker. This includes a sex trafficker. This includes another first-degree murderer and gangbang. These people were on the run because of the prior administration's reckless policies that destroyed our communities. And you came in and with a mandate said, go after the worst of the worst. This is just the beginning. This is what happens when you let good cops at the FBI. Mr. President, I just want to thank you for your incredible leadership, our brave partnership.
How come we don't hear these people on a regular basis? How come we don't hear these people
make
on
sure
the
these
news?
arrests stick? And that's what the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General have led the charge across this country. Because arrests without prosecutions are meaningless. We are deterring criminals from doing this activity. We are preventing criminals from coming into America. And we are absolutely crushing violent crime like never before and defending this homeland, sir. And not to mention, I almost forgot this one. It took you, sir, 2 weeks to get the Abbey Gate bomber. Joe Biden had 4 years to look for him. You got him in 2 weeks. That's the interagency effort by the FBI and the CIA went to Pakistan, and now 13 brave warriors who were sentenced to see murder because of disasters in Afghanistan and Iraq. They have justice, their families have a peace of mind, and we're going to continue to find the others, Mr. President. On behalf of the FBI, sir,
Join the stream. Like, share, hit the likes. Hit the likes.
President, the men and women of law enforcement say 2 things to me repeatedly. First, you have taken the handcuffs off them and let them do their jobs. Cops be cops. That's why all this is happening. The director, the deputy director are working around the clock. All of these great men and women in the FBI, they have families at home, and they are working during a government shutdown right now. Many of them have small children. Many of them, I was talking to an agent this morning, many of them have babies at home, and they are working around the clock to not own our country, but are safe. And that's what Operation Summer Heat did. Thank you, Director, and to the Deputy Director. Thing you did on behalf of the Department of Justice, and you're going to continue to keep doing. And they set the stage for what we're doing in Memphis. You're going to hear a lot more about that, our joint task force next week, but they set the stage for Memphis. And last night alone in Memphis, there were almost 70 arrests. There were 12 guns seized, and there was a 70-year-old man arrested as a result of our Operation in Memphis who raped a child under the age of 3. That one case makes everything we're doing worthwhile. So thank you all for being here on behalf of both of us. Thank you, President Trump.
Todd, you want to say something?
Sure.
Ooh.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is a great day, and I think there's stats that the director talked about which are important, but I want to give 2 examples of what summer heat has done that actually will apply hopefully to everybody in this room. The first is for over 4 years during the last administration, there was a hotel in a town, the middle of a town in Alaska, that was being run as a drug den. There were over 1,000 calls to 911 over 4.5 year period. There were multiple violent crimes, drug dealers, overdoses, and murders at this one hotel, ruining a community. Summer heat went in there. It's not only arrested all the participants that were controlling the hotel, but seized the hotel. And so that's one example of what summer heat means to everyday Americans that just want to live in peace. The second example is a large narcotics trafficking group that was selling fentanyl in the state of Washington. They were shipping fentanyl and using commercial aircraft, putting fentanyl pills and powder in suitcases, flying them from the southwest border, mostly Arizona, all the way to Washington. It had been going on for an extremely long time, and the entire organization was arrested. And I say those 2 examples because it's easy to look at the board and see 1,000 arrests, how much different communities now compared to the past 4 years. But there's actual life examples. Every one of these arrests means that our streets are safer, and that's because of the work of this administration, of President Trump and Director Patel. So I will tell you, Attorney General Bondi and I are together with Director Patel, figuring out ways that we can continue to do this work, and it's not going to stop. Like the Attorney General said, and like the President said, this is just the beginning, or phase 1, or whatever you want to say, but it will continue on. So thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Director Patel.
And Mr. President, just one last thank you from the men and women at the FBI. You found a way to get these individuals paid during a government shutdown, our 1811 agents. So on behalf of the FBI, it's a great debt that we owe you, sir. They're now allowed to pay for their families, so thank you.
And the military. Good.
That's right.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions, please? Brian?
Oh, yes, man!
No, the feedback I'm getting from the
all of them are yes, men!
Thank you. Law and order is not an option in this country. It's a mandate. So I know the American people thank you for that. In terms of the guns that have been taken off the street, do you have a number of how many guns were taken away from someone that had a prior felony or a previous crime to prosecute that? Because I know it wasn't the case under Joe Biden.
We don't take guns off the streets of people that are allowed to have guns. So every gun that we're taking off the street is because it belongs to somebody who is not allowed to have it. Could be a felon, could be somebody who hears illegally. There's all sorts of conditions. But if there's a gun taken off the streets by the FBI, it's because the person is not allowed to. It's not somebody who's lawfully allowed to have it. So every single one of those guns were taken off of people that aren't allowed to have them.
And not including the FBI, all of the other agencies. ATF alone since January 20th has removed over 25,000 illegal guns off our streets just since President Trump's been in office.
And Mr. President, if I could follow up on that, could there be any further conversation to have national concealed carry apply actual DC, like if you had a driver's license in Texas and you had a permit? Of course, you could drive.
Well, as you know, they've been talking about that for a long time. It's an interesting question. A lot of people feel strongly both ways, but we are talking about that, Brian. Thank you.
Mr. President, on Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which it is empowered by law to do? You know, this way you can confirm who's on the boat and ensure that they're doing what you suspect.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective. They have faster boats. Some of these boats are seriously, they're world-class speedboats, but they're not faster than missiles. But we've been trying to do that for years. 25-30% would come in through the seas. Right now we have, I would say, none coming in through the seas. In fact, I don't know about the fishing industry. If you want to go fishing, a lot of people aren't deciding to even go. We've almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land.
What's the next
But
step?
it never worked. It never worked when you did it in a very politically correct manner.
What's the next step in this war on cartels, and are you considering options? Are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that, I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. You know, they have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population. Every boat is saving 25,000 lives, and you can see it. The boats get hit, and you see that fentanyl all over the ocean. It's like floating in bags. It's all over the place. We save tremendous amounts of lives. Yeah,
Mr. President, on that issue, I know you've talked about, I have a question for you, and then I also have a question for Director Patel. I know you talked about having some distaste for Boston recently. Is this one of the cities that you might be looking into, and can you give us a hint about other cities that you might be?
You're saying for where? For where?
For Boston.
Yeah, well, Boston has a bad mayor who at least is a reasonable IQ person. You know, most of them are low IQ. But, and they're so bad. I mean, what's going on in Chicago is just, you'd think the guy would say, hey, look, we have a problem, Mr. President. Could you come in and straighten it out? We could have that done in a month if we had their cooperation. It's going to be done anyway, but we could have it done in a month. Yeah, Boston, she's got 4 areas that are, wrong. And, somebody said, would we think about taking the World Cup away from Boston if they don't straighten it out? And the answer is yes. We have the right to do that with FIFA. So if we think that LA is going to be bad, or we think that applies a little bit to the Olympics too, but well, first, FIFA is very hot. If we think there's any reason that, whether it's Boston or anywhere else, that they're not doing their job, we're going to take
right now
those World Games and move someplace.
Thank you. And then Director Patel, there's been so many conspiracy theories swirling around about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Do you have any updates for us, especially in light of all the online content that everyone's been talking about?
The only thing we deal with at the FBI and the Department of Justice is facts. And we delivered in record speed a manhunt to capture Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin in 33 hours. And if you put that in perspective to Luigi Mangione with the Boston bomber, they took them 5 days and a police officer lost their life in their manhunt. We are running out absolutely every single lead, and the best we can do to honor my friend Charlie Kirk's life is to make sure that everyone involved is prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and that's what we're focused on, investigating the facts, not trading in conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
Thank you.
In light of China's export curbs on rare earths, do you view India as a reliable partner going forward? And are you planning to meet Prime Minister Modi in Malaysia? Are you open to talks in terms of
Yeah, sure. He's a friend of mine. We have a great relationship. He just said that 2 days ago, as you know. We have a great relationship. No, we were with him buying oil from Russia.
I just heard
because that lets Russia continue on with this ridiculous war where they've lost 1.5 million people, by the way. Russia's lost 1.5 million people, soldiers mostly. This is a war that should have never started, but it's a war that Russia should have won in the first week, and they're going into the 4th year. And I want to see it stop. So I was not happy that India was buying oil, and he assured me today that they will not be buying oil from Russia. That's a big stop. Now I got China to do the same thing. You know, that is relatively easy compared to what we just did over the last week.
You know what they did?
In the Middle East. Middle East was 3,000 years.
Okay.
And we got it done.
Hold on. Even though they just threatened the U.S., I'm talking about Iran, just threatened the U.S. just now. They just looped this video. But it probably won't be long. It probably won't be long until, let me see, a few hours ago, will strike on America. A few hours to go. Oh shit. But will it reach,
unequivocally
will it
condemn
reach
the criminal
America?
act of action by the United States against Iran.
Will these so-called missiles from Iran reach America? Global powers react to Iran's shark warning against the United States and Israel. Thanks, Trump. Thanks. This is just my life. Thank you very much.
And to hold the administration in Washington.
I don't know.
To paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231. It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the US, a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime.
And it's March Madness.
The Islamic Republic of Iran reminds the United Nations.
When is March Madness?
Security Council, the UN Secretary General,
the week after,
the International Atomic Energy Agency, and other relevant international bodies of their duty and responsibility to take urgent and decisive action in response to this breach of international law. Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos. Humanity has come too far as a species to allow a lawless bully to take us back the law of the jungle. The Islamic Republic of Iran calls on the
breaking news! Breaking news! Oh shit! Breaking news! People, where's the fucking news? Somebody got injured. Y'all say, can I just hit the like button? Hit the like button. Hit the like. This is crazy. They hit the new guy. Where's the point? No problem. Just do me a slight favor. Go ahead, support the channel. Let me put this in the middle. Give me a second. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Oop, wait, did I let that go? Oh, there it goes.
Relation with previous supreme leaders show Iran's shift towards a hereditary rule, but they have also turned around and said that there could be another possibility that they are going to use the injury narrative to justify bypassing constitutional norms. Whether or not this is going to perhaps cause a wedge between the Iranian clergy, and will there be perhaps a deepening of rift between the Mujtaba Khamenei faction and the Larijani faction? We wait and watch, because Larijani was somebody who was touted to be the next successor, and Ayatollah Khamenei, the late Khamenei himself, had said that he doesn't want anybody from his family. It was his fatwa or his own opinion that he doesn't wanted to be anybody from his family, and he had somewhere indicated towards Larijani and maybe even Ali Reza, who between whom the Council of 88 experts would have had to decide. But his killing and Mujtaba Khamenei being moved in because of some IRGC hawks who indicated to the experts that continuation of the command will also help hand, but he's always been in the periphery. He has always worked from the shadows, never been actively involved in any administrative or clerical role within that entire Iranian regime. Mujtaba Khamenei, the son, he's already wife, sister, brother, and father to these bombings and things. Now we are given to understand, and perhaps this is confirmation coming, that he is also injured and may be indisposed. Whether or not these injuries are very, very serious, and whether he's conscious, we do not know. The usage of the terms by the Iranian state media confirm these doubts that even he is injured.
So is the injury narrative also being used to justify bypassing the constitutional norms? Remember, this is unprecedented, that he's succeeding his father, the supreme leader. Anand, can you hear me?
Yes. So using the injury narrative to bypass constitutional norm, it doesn't usually work like that, because we have to understand the structure. The next supreme leader or clerical head who controls and holds sway over the IRGC also will influence the appointment in the judiciary, and so and will also have a quasi influence over it, and the elected member, leader of the people, and governance is the supreme leader. And this supreme leader is elected by a council of experts, which is 88 in number. These 88 council of experts are elected by the people of Iran, and they have a responsibility to choose. And this council has unanimously elected Mujtaba Khamenei, although there are factions which were leading or intending or leaning towards Larijani. This Khamenei aspect came because there are hawks within the IRGC who were perhaps able to influence and prevail over the council to select a Khamenei family member, despite this not being the writ of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had very clearly said that he doesn't want anybody from his family to take his position once he recuses his position of supreme leader. He had said that it should from the outside, from a part of this entire council of experts and part of the regime, but not from his family. So they have bypassed the writ or the will of the late Khamenei by pushing for Mujtaba Khamenei, and this has also created rift within the Iranian leadership. Will that wedge be driven deep? We have to wait and watch. Will there breakaway faction which claims leadership or which challenges the veracity, the authenticity and the legitimacy of Mujtaba Khamenei as the new supreme leader? We'll have to wait and watch. But this fact that he's injured, the fact that he's indisposed could also add to multiple factors. Whether this stirs up the emotional quotient among the people, whether they're able to use the injury to try and justify bypassing constitutional norms, we have to wait and watch. But there are many who say that despite the overall unanimous decision in favor of Mujtaba Khamenei, there are many who believe that there are factions within the IRGC who are unhappy about this decision. And if Mujtaba Khamenei is indisposed, then there could be pressure slowly built to elect a new supreme leader.
Anand, why symbolic continuity so important right now as far as Mujtaba's appointment is concerned? Is it because he's also seen as the rightful heir to his father because of what happened with his father? Also, not to forget, he's lost several of his own family members, including his wife, his children, even reports indicating that his sister was also killed and eliminated in the joint strikes. Is the US-Israel crisis now working in favor of the regime?
See, it's purely, like I said, it's not a decision that was underwritten or sanctioned by the late Khamenei. The late Khamenei did not want the Khamenei name to start. The Khomeini and Khamenei jointly ruled Iran, and then it was Khamenei who took over once the passing of Khomeini. But in this case, they had very clearly said it's not going to be dynastic. So clearly, it's not the will of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the late Khamenei. What's being done is to continue to use the name Khamenei and to drum up the entire emotional sentiment and to keep the Iranian people under their fold and control and the extra, what would I say, to somewhere ensure the word, ensure the continuation of the regime. They have used the Mujtaba Khamenei, but he is not the rightful heir. He is not the rightful successor. Had it been not a warlike situation, had it been a situation where the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had either recused himself from his position or he had died of natural, then the Iranian clergy and the clerical leadership of 88 House of Experts would have perhaps leaned towards a Larijani or a Ali Reza or somebody else after deliberation and voting and discussion, not and away from the Khamenei family. So this is purely because Ali Khamenei was killed by outsiders in an act of war or invasion and hostility to try and keep that emotional support and to keep the people together under the fold of the regime and ensure continuation of the regime that Mujtaba Khamenei has been picked. But the Iranians, but the Israelis, the Americans were not very happy with Mujtaba Khamenei's name because many believe that he is far more radical, far more fundamental and orthodox in his approach, and he would only go 10 times more than his father would have gone in terms of taking up hostilities and driving Iran in a direction where it perhaps gone nuclear very, very soon in the near future. Its ballistic missile program to engage and amp up the hostilities. A great leader who the Iranians were projecting him to be in whispers that he is a psychopath and he can be really, really crazy in terms of his approach. But that aside, is he even fully functional? Is he even fully conscious? We do not know because there are reports that even he is injured.
All right, getting in a CNN News 18 mega exclusive. This is in fact brought to us by investigations editor Manoj Gupta, where we are being told that Mujtaba.
All right. Hot damn. Well, we'll see tomorrow morning. Well, most likely when you guys wake up because you guys are mostly East Coast. You guys are mostly East Coast. I am Pacific. I am near California. If y'all get the news earlier than we do, then you already know what's up. I'm only here to support Jasmine Crockett and give the latest news to what's happening out west over there, over in Iran, and of course, America, U.S., Israel, and Britain are joining forces to fight the regime. Already lives have been lost. People are injured. People are already dead. And as Trump put it, he doesn't give a shit nevertheless. So hopefully Iran doesn't go ape shit and just starts blasting nuclear weapons or sends, you know, the what you call it, the sleeper cells over here, which they haven't done in a long time. They haven't done in years. People, FBI would spot that shit in a minute. We got too good of FBI people up in here. They would spot that shit in a minute. But if this is what you want. This is what they wanted. War. When we are all warlike people. Are you ready, brother? Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for a revolution. I'm ready for a revolution. Anybody want to fuck around? Anyone want to fuck around with the family? You go right ahead. They ain't gonna come back the same way they came in. But in all seriousness, we're talking about a person that doesn't know what he's doing. I just hope in all hopes, because we're talking about 9 countries ready to do away with old Trump. So we will see. We will see. All right, y'all. It's been real. About to shut down for the night. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Support the channel, and peace, love, and chicken grease.